Hey there, I'm Lance and I'm a gamer.
And I'm Sam, and I'm a non-gamer.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to help gamers find great games to play with non-gamers.
And today we're taking a look at Illiterati by Gap Closer Games.
Illiterati is a word game in which you and the other players are going to be cooperating, working together to try and stop the illiterati from removing all books from the world and making everyone illiterate. And you'll be doing this by forming words as fast as you can. It is a real-time game, and as I mentioned, it's cooperative, so you want to work together to beat the game. Let me show you how it works down below, and then we'll come back and share our thoughts on it as a gamer and non-gamer. All right, I have Illiterati on the table. Let me show you guys how to play this word game. Now, what you have in this game, you're going to have a lot of tarot-sized cards. Mine happen to come in sleeves. I do have the deluxe edition here. You are going to have this tile that's going to be dual recessed and hold some letter tiles on it throughout the course of the game. Hopefully not too many, because if you fill this up, that's one of the ways you can lose. You do have tiles that are going to be of wooden. These are wooden tiles, and they are painted. And you will have cloth bags that you will be keeping them all in. You've got two different cloth bags here. One that you will draw from, and the other that you will discard the tiles into. And you do have a sand timer for this game. Now, this is a very simple game as far as the rule set goes. That the goal for it, though, is not very easy. It is a difficult, challenging game. You can play this game cooperatively or competitively or solo mode, but for the biggest portion of this video, I will be talking about the cooperative experience, because that's the main mode to play this game. The others are variants. So you can play in differing degrees of difficulty. You've got your normal, hard, and legendary, and you've got this rules reference card here to remind you of the changes that will be in place depending on what degree of difficulty you play on. But how you play this game, you're going to make sure that everybody has one of these red book cards. You'll flip this over, and it'll have some sort of condition that that particular player is trying to fulfill throughout the course of the game, and every player will have one of their own. This particular one says that I want to try to make words that are cities, and I need to use at least 8 letters in my, not all in one word, but 8 letters cumulative of all the words that I make that happen to be the names of cities. And in addition to all of that, I am trying to use at least 3 of these symbols. If you'll take a look at these tiles, not only do they have letters on them, but they have symbols, and there's that same symbol, that orange symbol that you've got. I think there's 5 different colors and symbols in the game, in addition to the 2 black wild tiles. Now, the black ones, they generally are going to have letters that are harder for you to use, but the benefit is that they're going to have all of the symbols on them, or they may have no letters at all, but you can use the symbols down here at the bottom again. Now, what you are trying to do in this game, you will draw 7 tiles from the bag for each player. In addition to that, there are going to be 3 letters in the center of the playing area, kind of out here. And so everybody will have those letters face up. So we would have 3 out here, and then each player would have 7 of their own letters. And you would flip the timer and you would start, and you would want to try to make words. Now, hopefully you would be making words that meet your condition for what you're trying to do, and you would only focus on this side of the card. We'll come back to what this is here in just a second. So I would be trying to make cities, but I don't have to just make cities. In fact, I probably won't just be doing cities. I will be making any words that I can out of all the letters that I have, and I can grab from the library letters, the 3 letters that are in the middle. This is like a common pool that we can all share, and I can exchange letters from my pile for letters that are in the center, or I can just take from them and make words. Now, the idea is to make words as fast as you can before this timer runs out, because when the timer runs out, if there are letters that you have not used as part of your words, then they will go to the center. And if there are more letters in the center, the library, the common pool area, than what there were at the beginning of the round, which was 3, then you will have to burn a letter. You'll have to take all those letters, turn them face down, mix them up, reveal one of them, and that letter is going to get burned. And that is bad, because if this board fills up, if you fill up the bird, then game over. The Illiterati wins and you are defeated as a team. So you don't want that to happen. You want to try and use as many letters as you can, making any kind of word. But again, you are trying to fulfill what your objective is on your particular card. Now, at the end, when the timer runs out, and again, you'll look and see if you have too many letters out here in the center pool. And if you don't, then you can bind words. And so if I had a city, let's say maybe I had Reno, for instance, well, that would be 4 out of the 8 letters that I need. And so I don't have my goal completed, but I could set that word off to the side, and I would still need to try to get 4 more letters to complete my goal here for cities, in addition to these 3 symbols. But what's going to happen at the end of every round, we're going to flip over one of these Illiterati cards, and it's going to have a member of the Illiterati. This happens to be Minerva Fantine. And so she's going to have a special ability down here, and this is always going to be negative. So for instance, this says draw a letter, and if it has a symbol, that each player must discard 2 letters with that same symbol. And then so that's going to be how you lose some of the letters that you're working towards in completing the goal for what you are trying to do, with the binding of the books. And so you don't want to have to take on too many of these, because you will be flipping one over at the end of every round, and there will come a time when you flip one over that is the same character as one that you've already revealed, at which point you will put one on top of the other, and you will activate both of the abilities. So these don't happen just once. They will reactivate every time you have to put a like card on top of it, the same villain on top of it. So you do want to limit as many of these as you take on as possible. Now, once you have completed your particular goal, you'll flip that over to signify you've done it, and then you'll grab one of these blue books. Now, the blue books also have objectives that you are trying to fulfill, such as this one is, I need 2 words, that's what these icons mean, and each word has to have 5 letters in it. And not only that, but only 1 vowel in exact middle of each word. So I've got to try to do that with 2 times, and then I will have completed this objective. Once each player has done 1 red book, 1 blue book, then it is on to the final chapter. And what you will do for that, you will choose red or blue. You'll take that card, you'll flip it over, and then you'll go off the final chapter side of the card. So this one, for instance, is body parts. I need 12 or more letters, 5 of which use the same symbol. And if we can accomplish this as a team before either we have burned 4 books, or if we just cannot accomplish it because so many bad guys have come out that they've taken all of our letters, and then, you know, we're not going to succeed, then the game will end in a failure. But if we can accomplish that, then we will win the game. Now, going back to the different difficulty levels here, you can restrict how many letters are in the library, that central pool, from 3 to 2 or 1. Burn letters allowed, we could say we can allow 3. If you get a 4th one, you lose, or we can lower that number. And then we can also increase the number of books that each player has to complete. You can also say, does the center library need to be completely empty in order to win the game? And you could say, yes, you do, for hard and legendary. So that's how you can make the game more challenging. Now, as I mentioned, there are rules on the back of the rule book. For solo mode, there's also a junior mode for whenever you're playing with little kids. And you can do librarian versus librarian, which is player versus player. And I'll leave you to figure out those rules for yourself by looking at the rule book. But those modes are out there for you if you want to enjoy that. So that's how you play Illiterati. Let's go back up top and share our thoughts on this one. And we're back, and now we're going to share our thoughts on Illiterati from a gamer and non-gamer's perspective. So Sam, first impression seeing this out on the table, this is a very well produced game. The tiles are nice, the boards are nice, the box is really nice. What was your first impression with it?
It made me think, like Scrabble or Bananagrams or something like that. And I enjoy those games. I'm a horrible speller, but I enjoyed the
word games.
Yeah, the word games.
Okay, yep. For me, I thought I was, really impressed with the production value on this game. That was the first thing that stood out to me. Artwork is fantastic. Components are top notch. The box is just really nice. Yeah. I mean, everything about this game is high quality. So that's the first thing I really wanted to point out with this particular game. But let's talk about the gameplay experience with this one. So most word games are competitive games, right? You are trying to either make the longest word or most words, use the most letters, or whatever the case may be, get the most points. But this is cooperative, and I think that's pretty unique. I don't know of any other cooperative word game. So what was the experience like for you, this being a cooperative game?
I think it made it fun. You could give each other letters that you weren't using and kind of help each other meet. You each had individual goals. Mm-hmm. And so I think it was a good combination. Like, you still had to meet your own goal, but you could help each other get there.
Right, yeah.
And you both had to meet your goals.
And it does require some communicating and teamwork. And it's a frantic teamwork because it is real time.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot happening, and there's a lot, of needing to make sure I not only hit my goals, but Sam hits hers, and the
Which
person
is hard
over there.
Because sometimes you have your words figured out, but then they need something and you have it. And so you don't have to, but you choose to give it to them, and then you have to rearrange your words.
Exactly.
And so it's not just as simple as,
And it really does require teamwork. You really do have to do that. You have to make these hard choices of sacrificing your really nice big word to help somebody make sure that they're not leaving too many tiles out in the middle, and then you're really hurting the team by not sacrificing. Yeah. So there is that gameplay element to this particular game, and I think that was something that I found enjoyable with this one, of knowing that it's not just about me hitting my goals. I've got to make sure that everybody's hitting their goals.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of tension built around that. So I think every moment was pretty exciting with this game. For you as a non-gamer, what was that experience like?
Yeah, I don't think this game really gears towards a gamer or a non-gamer. It's just more if this is the type of game you like. I think any level of gamer can enjoy this game.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that as well. I think this can be a very welcoming game to people who aren't used to playing board games.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that it is so cooperative and it's so team-based that you are having to work together. Now, the real-time element does mean people have to really think quickly, be on their toes. Yeah. And I would think that if you're somebody, or you're playing with somebody who just absolutely does not like word games, I mean, this is a word game. So you're going to run up against a wall with that particular part of it. All right, let's get to pros and cons for Illiterati. Sam, what for you as a non-gamer sticks out about this game in a positive way?
I think it does a good job with the cooperative aspect of it. I think we've talked about it a million times before, that cooperative games can be good for non-gamers because they're not having to try to figure everything out on their own. But sometimes it could cause the gamer really to quarterback the game, and the non-gamer's not learning that much or not participating a lot. But in this one, you still have to participate. You're just able to help each other. So I think it's a good medium ground for that.
And I think, if there is going to be any alpha gaming quarterbacking with this game, I don't think that it's necessarily going to be a gamer who might be doing that. I think it could be anybody with this particular game.
It's just maybe the person that just can see letters better.
Exactly. The person who can spell better, or the person who's got a bigger vocabulary.
So it might be a good game for those that are having a hard time finding one that the gamer or the non-gamer can really excel in, and maybe this is that game.
Right. Any other pros?
I mean, it's very simple to learn. It's a fairly quick game, and it's easy to figure out and play. You're not having to constantly ask questions and figure out what do I do next, because it really is just one idea.
Yeah. Another pro that I'll throw out there, and it's something I just said just a second ago, big vocabulary. So many word games come down to whoever has the biggest vocabulary. And it's like trivia games. It's just whoever's smart. Whoever just knows random things typically wins trivia games.
Yeah.
Whoever has a big vocabulary typically wins word games. But that's not the case with this one. it does help playing with people who have big vocabularies, but the fact that it's cooperative, you know, it kind of negates that aspect of it. And you're just all trying to hit these goals, and it's trying to think on the fly.
Those goals aren't just related to how you're spelling the words or the spelling of the words.
Yeah.
It's the colors that you're using,
right, the shapes,
how long
the symbols.
the words are. So it goes above and beyond just spelling.
Exactly, yeah. Any cons with this game as a non-gamer?
I mean, not really. I think some of the goals were a little bit hard to interpret in their...
I think some of the goals are just next to impossible to complete.
And so that's a little frustrating. Not all of them. There's some easier ones, but some of them are just like, I don't think that's gonna work.
Yeah, I mean, we ran up against a wall when it came to naming tech companies because I mean, there's probably more than what we realize.
That's just not our.
That's just not something that's going to be on the
company
on the front of our minds while playing a word game of, you know, Facebook or, you know, like it was tech and social media, so Facebook would fit in that. But there's just some kind of obtuse or obscure categories for certain cards that I think maybe could have been replaced. Any other cons for you on this?
I don't think so. That comes to my mind.
The box says 30 minutes for gameplay, and that's, I assume that's irregardless of player count. I think, I don't know, maybe not, but we found that 30 minutes wasn't quite accurate. I think it was a little longer than that, and that might just be because we were, you know, not hitting our goals as fast as we would have liked, and maybe with more gameplay or with more players or with smarter people, the game might be snappier and might move forward, but we just didn't find that it hit that 30-minute mark.
I
like it says.
also wouldn't really agree with the age of 7+.
Yeah, no.
Especially when I mean, maybe they could spell some things, but understanding like tech companies or understanding that their words have to be related to that, I barely think our 11-year-old could do this with us.
Yeah, I think this is more of a teenagers and up kind of game. Not because of the content, but just because, like Sam's saying, the way the game is played. So, all right, let's get to scores for Illiterati. On a scale of 1 to 10, where does this one come in at for you?
I like this game. I definitely think it's one that we will probably try to get out again. So I would give it a 7.7.
Okay. All right. Pretty high for you on this one. I'll be honest, word games aren't something that I get overly excited about.
So you can't spell.
Well, I can spell just fine, and I have a decent sized vocabulary, I'd like to think. No, it's just not my idea for how I would want a board game night to go. Doesn't mean that I'm against all word games, but this is a fine game that, you know, I enjoyed playing. And so I was surprised by it. It was a unique take. It's innovative because it's cooperative. So because of all of that, I'm going to give it a 7.5. I think this was a very solid game. I enjoyed everything about it, save for those one or two cons that we threw out there. So 7.5 from me, 7.7 from Sam. That's our thoughts on Illiterati. It is from Gap Closer Games. Leave us some comments down below. Let us know what you think about this game.
Make sure to like and subscribe and push that bell button so you get notifications of all our new content.
I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.